It's a Monday morning, and it's good to be here. This is
In today's episode of the show, we're going to be talking about a topic that sits at the heart of our nation's future,
yeah.
which is education.
Mhm.
It's okay, what do you feel?
Well, education is the bedrock of the society because there's
Absolutely.
this quote I saw by Nelson Mandela. He said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." So imagine a world without education.
Mm,
That will not be right.
it
But there's
won't be.
something so intriguing about today's topic, safeguarding education through reformation. There's no doubt that education has become a bane, is a major part of our lives in the society, but a whole lot of things seems to cripple the effect of education in our society. If you look at war-driven uh, societies, you see that education, the classrooms, let me use the educational environment, has been used for so many things.
Mm,
At the end of the day, if you go to a war-torn country or state, the schools are no longer safe. Children will not be able to go to school. Teachers are no longer safe. Sometimes it's even used as a place where the bandits or even the wicked who are involved in this conflict, they use that as a site for them. Even sometimes they use it as a place for displaced people. So what happens when the children no longer go to school? That's what we'll be talking about. But last month, the day, International Day of International Day to Protect Education actually came in place, and that is why we are here today to actually say that indeed education is an attack. It's no news across the world. Schools have become vulnerable spaces affected by insecurity and a whole lot of disruption happening in the society. So what we're talking about is how can we be able to protect the learning environment for our children and for our teachers, because the children are the future leaders. So how can we make the classroom safe for them? How can we ensure that the education they have there is right? Okay, most times the classroom is not just the classroom in itself, the environment is key. We have so many classrooms that dilapidated buildings. We have so many classrooms where for them to even go to the toilet, it's not even right.
mm.
Toilet facilities are no longer safe. Even for teachers, their study room, their class, the rooms where teachers stay is not even conducive. So these are all things we're going to be talking about on the show today. How can we safeguard education through reformation? So that's what we'll be talking on the show today.
Yes, that's what we'll be talking on the show today. And our guest for today is going to be joining us right in, Mrs. Kumakpai. Don't worry, she's around.
Yeah.
And yeah, but before we go, the thing about this education is
Yeah.
I would love, you know, to just have this thing about, people just coming into the education system and
Yeah.
trying to reform it.
Yeah, although we've been seeing a whole lot. I saw it on the news where class smart boards have been distributed in public schools. I saw it in the news today, and that's a very good one. We need more than just having smart boards. How will they be able to use it,
Yeah.
especially for children who are not really conversant with technology? And so there's a whole lot that we're going to be talking on the show today. But before we go into the topic today, we have a feature, and that is talking about academic life. Don't go anywhere. It's still the mid.
While we were young is, what do you want to be when you grow up? For many, this common question never had a response of, I want to be a teacher. Teaching hasn't really been portrayed as a lucrative and beautiful profession, although the impact of lecturers and teachers as a whole on our society can't be overemphasized. Thinking of the importance of an academic, questions as these come to mind. What qualifies an individual to become an academic? What are the ranks in the academic sphere? And what is the benchmark of an academician? Early times in Nigeria, traditional knowledge were taught by the elders. Sons acquired skills by observing their fathers. For example, the village herbalist trains his son to become the next village herbalist, and this is the cycle that runs through several generations. Like old times, the modern day academic has to become a student before becoming a teacher, only that learning is now formal. The history of Western education in Nigeria was intimately bound up with the history of Western education in Europe. During and after the Dark Ages in Europe, the church dominated the business of education, and this had a tremendous impact on the intellectual life of people, not only in Europe and America, but also in the British colonial territories of Asia and Africa, in which Nigeria wasn't left out. During colonial period, teachers appointed were untrained and unqualified, as teacher education programs were not available in the country then. In 1901, quoting the words of the then inspector of school, one could diverse the untrained status of teachers in Nigeria. Quoting him, very few of the teachers in the schools in the protectorate hold any certificate or have any training as teachers. They are, for the most part, mission agents of whose duties teaching in the mission schools. Unquote. But by 1859, the Church Missionary Society founded the first teacher training institution in Nigeria. Although before the establishment, the first academicians in Nigeria were the missionaries, and to involve the indigenes, the school was established in Abeokuta, and it was named the Training Institution. The training institution was later moved to Lagos State in the year 1867, when the missionaries were exiled from the town of Abeokuta. The great impact laid by the Church Missionary Society was later followed by the Baptist Mission, and it founded a teacher training college in Ogbomoso in 1897. The trend continued as the Wesleyan Methodist founded Wesley College, Ibadan, in 1905, and it goes on till this present age, where we now have the primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. We can then say the first set of people who got trained during that era brought about the birth of other teachers, as well as the establishment of various schools in our today contemporary society. The first set of the academician has really brought a huge impact in our educational system today, and we can call them the teachers that teach the teachers. The teaching profession in Nigeria has faced so many ordeals. The general umbrella for teachers, the Nigerian Union of Teachers, was formally inaugurated in 1931, which came about partly because of the vulnerabilities exposed by the Great Depression, which led to cuts in teachers' salaries and a seemingly lack of job security. Since then, the union has fought for the welfare of its members. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, was formed in 1978, a successor to the Nigerian Association of University Teachers, formed in 1965, which covered the academic staff in all of the federal and state universities in the country. The union has organized several strike action from 1980s even till now. To regulate and control the teaching profession, the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, the TRCN, was established in 1993, and it controls the teaching profession at all levels in Nigeria and Nigeria's education system in both public and private sectors. Furthermore, teacher education is considered to be the foundation for quality and relevance in education at all levels. The level of education determines the ranking of an academic. After the basic education of primary and secondary school, an individual who aspires to teach others must proceed to a higher institution, such as a college of education, a university, polytechnic, or an equivalent. Such individuals should study education in a specific field. People who don't have a degree in education will have to undergo a postgraduate degree in education, or PDGE, to be qualified as a teacher. after which such individual proceeds to bag a master's in education and a doctorate in a specific field to become a full lecturer. The benchmark of an academic is to become an emeritus professor. Before this stage, many waters would have passed under the bridge, from being an undergraduate to being a postgraduate, a graduate assistant, an assistant lecturer, a lecturer 1, a lecturer 2, a senior lecturer, an assistant professor, an associate professor, a professor, and finally, attaining the title Emeritus Professor. It is clear that it takes years of hard work and dedication to reach the summit of academic pursuit. And so, next time you meet an academician, give them the accolades they deserve, because education is a lifetime process.
Welcome back. It's still the mid-morning show. Of course, that feature was on academic life. It's a journey, we must say. Education never stops for me.
Absolutely.
Education never stops. It's continua. It keeps going and going and going. But how safe is our education system in our country and globally? And of course, our topic today, we're talking about safeguarding education through reformation. Is it that there's been no reformation over time, over these years? These are things we're going to talk about. How safe is the learning environment for every child and even for the teachers? This is what we'll be discussing on the show today. And we have our guest with us today, Mrs. Margaret Kumapai. She is an educationist and proprietress. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
Good morning, viewers.
It's always nice
It's
having
always
you.
Nice to have you to be back here again.
Indeed.
Always bringing me.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's start from the beginning now. What does safeguarding education, what does it really mean?
When we talk of safeguarding, we are talking of ensuring that education is given a conducive, enabling environment for both the teachers and the students. An enabling, conducive environment for teaching and learning. You want to protect, you want to safeguard that institution from anything that can cause harm, injury, that can cause ill health, to the students. So that is the protection we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's safeguarding education. Making sure that the children, the students, the environment gives the students the right avenue to learn effectively.
So, where can you say we got it all wrong? Because generally now, looking at schools, institutions, when you go to the restroom, when you go to the environment it's not really conducive for learning. So where can you really say, from your own point of view, where did we get it wrong?
The problem is multifaceted. I want to pick maybe the aspect of approval of some schools that, without making sure the appropriate facilities are on ground. That can endanger the health of the students. It can give them a disenabling environment.
Yeah.
So that is one. Then who are the mentors that we call the teachers? How have they been processed? How have they been prepared? How have they been taught? We are talking of giving an enabling, conducive environment. The people that are in charge must be knowledgeable of what they ought to do. They must know what safety entails. By the time we are talking of an abuse or something that can cause ill health, something that can bring danger, they must be very sensitive and have concern for such. Let me say stakeholders generally must carry the same burden that this institution must be protected from any form of danger, attack, or anything that can endanger the lives of the students or even the teachers.
You said approval of some schools, some teachers not even knowing how, not even being knowledgeable. And also
Then I come to stakeholders.
the stakeholders as well.
Leaders, those that own the school, those that are having control over the
schools. But, are we not saying that over the years, there's this call for reformation. It's always been ongoing.
Reformation, yes.
So are we now saying that over the years, there's been no form of reformation in the educational sector?
Consistently, there had been series of training, exposures, and so on. However, the level of increase in number of schools,
Okay.
yes, is not commensurable with the amount of, exposure and teaching that are given to those that are handling the schools.
Yeah.
And that may cause the problem we are seeing. The main thing is that the primary aim is to prevent the school from being exposed to attack, to ensure that the environment is preserved from any form of attack, in form of abuse, in form of, ill health, lack of safety, all those should be the primary thing that we could put on ground.
But for all these years, why is it that when there's any form of conflict, not even in Nigeria alone, globally, the schools or educational system seems to be disadvantaged? Because why is it that the banks are not being attacked? Why is it that other institutions are not being attacked? But most especially, we see the education sector and even the health sector seem to be disadvantaged. Is there any proper reason for that?
Because most of them lack security.
Oh.
And you are talking of direct attack on schools. It is because they have assessed the level of security and they know that it is very poor, porous, or inadequate. So it opens the school to attack.
Yes.
Talking about that porosity now, how do you think that we can create a safer space for academics?
Thank God for one of the regulations in your state, that every school must exist within an enclosed compound. You understand?
Okay.
With gates and people to man the gate. In other words, on normal situation, before any intrusion will come to the school, it starts from the gate. And if the gate is well armed, information goes round, security is put in place, and help comes almost immediately. But where the school is accessible, no fence, accessible from different angles, it makes it very easily exposed to some dangers. These ones are external dangers coming in. There are within those
and we have the internal.
Within.
Before we even get to the internal ones, let's now look at the safeguarding now. When we say safeguarding education, it's not just...
Please allow me to say this
before
you go into the internal.
Okay.
Before, schools are well respected, that you don't see a parent coming into the school to fight a teacher.
So how can The teachers as well. The teachers as well. Are they not supposed